Bernard, thank you very much for being in this UCNC video blog. We are in this edition addressing 5G. A lot of discussions on 5G, technical discussions, planning, standardization, all the things. What you are in your viewpoint, what are really the key aspects that you are taking from this conference?
Thank you very much, Luis, for the kind questions. I will try to give you my impression. I'm not sure it reflects the full overview of the conference, because there are so many things happening that it's difficult to follow each and every panel and each and every discussions. But what I find first from this conference is that we are now have evolved already quite a bit compared to the conference last year. Last year we were just launching the first wave of 5G PV projects. Now we have projects which are in full swings, which are start of delivering results, and what we can see is that we can already get some nice and interesting technological results from the projects, be it on the radio interface part, which of course in wireless domain is always a point of attraction, but also from things which are more related to the core network issues and related to the architectural elements. What I find compared to the previous edition is that now we can see that on one hand, and I think Mario Campolago in his introduction, he mentioned this acceleration of the time frame. So we see already that the standardization bodies are moving fast, and the discussion in the standardization bodies now start of influencing the technological work. So maybe we have to think of a little different way to work with a more intricate perspective between what's happening at the level of standards and what's happening in the projects. Whilst in the past we had this much more linear perspective where you start from research, prototypes, standards. Now things tend to get together to a certain extent. So that's relatively new compared to the situation we had last year. And also one thing which I find also remarkable is that there are much more discussions on the overall architectural aspects and the architectures of 5G, the evolution of the core network. Do we need to keep a 4G core as it is today, or do we need to re-engineer something a little bit different to serve new type of use case, new type of requirements? There is a lot of discussion on slicing. I'm not sure everyone understands slicing the same way, but it seems to be a very hot topic these days in 5G. And this, to a certain extent, is normal because we put a lot of emphasis on this vertical industry, on developing the business case for the vertical industries, and slicing we understand that one of the tools that can make it happen. So from that perspective, it's not, let's say, unpredictable, but it's interesting to see that now there is more and more discussion on this type of topics. So for the future, I would expect that maybe the discussion on the radio access will maybe stabilize, although there will still be a lot of work to be done if we talk about millimeter wave, because millimeter wave is really uncharted territory. And I remember when we deployed wideband CDMA, it took several years to the operators to understand how you dimension a wideband CDMA network. I suppose millimeter wave will be even more complicated, so this is something which will probably require a hell of a lot of work again. But all these issues which are related to core network, to architectures, to the, let's say, the interface between the access network, the RANs, and the core, I believe these are going to be very important issues, and this is also the issues where we will see potentially some business model variations between the models that the vendors would push and the models that the operators would push. So we are looking for interesting discussions and interesting developments in this field for the future.
So let's wait for next year's edition of UCNC to see all these developments.
I'm eager for it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luis.